to our channel Lifelink Vision. Today Mother will continue with part 2 on the subject of death. So what happens when we die? Welcome Mother. So today we will explain to us what is the difference between our life now and what happens when we die. So our next life, I suppose we can say?
Yes, not completely, because if you talk about the next life, you're talking about the reincarnation in this physical world. You might call about life, you better call it life after death. And I already said in the first video, I think a lot of fear in this Western world for death comes out of the question, but once you die, where do you go? So man is caught up in life is the end, the absolute end, there's nothing anymore. That's already frightening. But if you start questioning if there is something, what will it be, it's almost as frightening. So in one way or another, we are caught up here in this scientific Western world with the question, yes, but life after death, does that exist? And if it exists, what is it? So I said the difficulty here is this existence that we go into after death is not the same existence that we lead here in physical life. And that is one of the difficulties we are fighting with in this world, because we cannot treat the reality of the other world in the same way as we do here in material physical life. That's also one of the reasons why the scientists do not like in some way being busy with this reality after death, because they have the feeling, how should we approach it? And somehow they are right, because it is another reality, and another reality cannot be approached with exactly the same means as this reality. What is the difference? Well, the difference is that in this world, what we call the divine part of man, the soul, is in some way, you can say, submitted to the laws of the physical world. We have the laws of gravity, that are physical laws, in which we are embedded, we are dealing with that, and that's what we call normal living, concrete living. The soul is somehow submitted to that, whereas the world the soul comes from, and that is the reality we return to after death, there gravity doesn't exist, and that's only one phenomena that's different, and there are many more. That's to say, everything that's logic and normal in this world either is not logic in the other world or simply doesn't exist. And that is only one of the difficulties we have to deal with. So if we try to analyze what could happen to us once we leave our body, because that is what dying is, we leave this physical, visible existence, and we find ourselves back in the reality, the consciousness, the state of consciousness of what is our soul, we will be overwhelmed by the simple fact that what we thought was reality isn't. So you think that, so you see that the first difficulty we have as human beings is that once we die, which is nothing else than I go out of my body and I enter as a soul in this reality where I came from before I incarnated, and I go back to when I die. And I suddenly realize that where I come from, that is to say, the physical reality, Earth, I realize that that is part of existence, but basically is a very small part of existence. I'm much more as a soul, much bigger reality is something else. And that is the difficulty. The difficulty is that once you leave your body, you die, and in fact you don't die, you find out that you still live as a consciousness, and you look back automatically to the life you have led on earth, in this earthly existence, and you realize that the only reality, real reality, that even gives meaning to this existence is the world of the soul. Well, that is for many people who come from the Western world with our physical criteria and our ignorance as ignorance about the existence of this other, the world of the soul. For many souls that is very frightening, because they realize that what is in fact most important in existence, they didn't know it when they were on earth. And that is in a subconscious way, the real problem about being afraid of dying. Being afraid of dying basically has nothing to do with fear of death itself. It has to do with not knowing what's waiting for you once you leave this body, and somehow, in a subconscious way, you know it. Something in us knows that there might be something that is far bigger than we think, and that might even give a meaning to this life that we preferred not to see when we were here. So I think the fear for death comes out of either ignorance or a kind of not wanting to see. You prefer not to know what death is, or in what reality you will find yourself back once you have died, because it also had to mean, it will also have a very profound meaning for the life you lead now. And then the second point that you will meet in the reality of the soul is that you will see that life, whether it is in a physical body or as a soul, in the world of the soul after death, life is based on morality. And that is one of the most difficult points that we are fighting with, because we would like to forget that. I think that one of the main points why people fear death without knowing it, and one of the main points why we prefer not to think about it, is because somehow we know it has to do with a deeper form of morality, and that's to say, what's the sense of your life? Have you only come here to grasp what you can get? Or have you come to develop moral qualities? Now, when you leave your body and you come into the other world, the first thing you will meet is that reality. And I think that is fear for death. Because you will see that all the values you had here on earth perhaps are worth nothing. And that the only thing that counts is the man or the woman you really were. And I think that's the problem in fear of death. So as I said in the beginning, it has to do with the laws on the other side that are different from the laws in the physical world. But when I talk about the laws on the other side, in the world, in the realm of the soul, I talk about moral laws, and not just about gravity. And that's the problem. The problem is that on the other side, in the world of the soul, and that's where you go after that, you have to face moral laws. And there's no God judging you, but you will yourself see your life suddenly through the eyes of your own soul, and that are the eyes of a moral reality. And that is the difficulty for modern man. To accept that, because one of the problems in the Western world is that we prefer to forget it. We made gradually, for over 150 years, from this Western world a kind of Far West. There's no sheriff, there are no laws, and the one who shoots first and fastest is the hero. And when you come on the other side, you will see that that's absolutely not what it's all about.
Thank you, Mother. So I hope that you will gain some good understanding of what happens after that, and that you will share this video because it can help many people, I'm sure. And we will have like a third video about another subject related to that. So don't forget to subscribe and write your comments. We will see you very soon. See you at the next video.
Wherever you go, you're in my thoughts. Your spirit is free, although you go your way. Follow the path straight on, don't look aside. And at the end there'll be shining a light. And at the end there'll be shining a light. If you may doubt sometimes, He will ease your mind. Wipe all the tears away, leave it all behind. Wherever you go, each step is new. Think of what's still to come.